Hello. There's been some news on Elden Ring DLC timeline and leaks. A lot of people have been discussing it. It's, I've heard a ton about it over the past day, so I wanted to give my own take. I want to talk about DLC in general. Here in this chat, we've talked about DLC a lot. People are always asking about it. People are very curious about it. We're always discussing, we're speculating. So I figure why not kind of do a whole thing where we discuss it very clearly and just kind of, I give my thoughts. I've said them a lot, but this will be just a new opportunity. This is the trigger though. This post claiming to be a leak from Bandai Namco, from internal Bandai Namco leak, was posted on social media and shared everywhere. Now, a lot of people have been discussing it. There's been a lot of, wow, is this real? Whatever. The key part that we're paying attention to is the Elden Ring Barbarians of the Badlands, claiming to be releasing in Q3 of 2023. Spoilers, this is fake. Sorry if you didn't know that already. I know a lot of people have been talking about it. It is fake. It is not real. There's been a ton of discussion as to why, the evidence of it. I was skeptical when I first saw it. This isn't exactly my forte, but this is not real. Some people said that the Bandai Company Inc., blah, 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 or this right here, Bandai Namco Group Corporation, is not something that actually exists even internally. I think one of these Dragon Ball games, I'm not too familiar with them, but apparently one of them is from a fan-made trailer. Suffice to say, there's quite a bit of evidence that this is not real. So just to go over that, sorry. If you just wanted to know, hey, is this real? It's not real. It's not real. But I did want to talk about what we can know and just generally do a whole discussion of the DLC. So I made this. It's very bright. I'm sorry. It's hurting my eyes too. I wrote out, I just did this really quickly myself. All the information can be found just literally Googling. But the FromSoft DLC release time for North America. Keep in mind, this is North America. Dark Souls 1, okay, long story short, we'll just go through this quickly. The Dark Souls 1 DLC released 1 year post the game. Dark Souls 2 was an anomaly in that 3 DLCs released 1 month apart from one another, starting 4 months after release and then 6 months. So it was July, August, September of 2014, 3 different DLCs, 4 to 6 months, this is uncommon. Dark Souls 3 was 7 months. And Bloodborne was 8 months. Based on this, I just did a quick little calculation. The average is 8 months post-release for DLC. So if they follow that general outline for Elden Ring, we can expect October, late October 2022 based on that precedent. Open this back up because it hurts. Oh my God. My eyes hurt. Now, of course, this is just based on the data that we have available. I have no insider information. I have zero recourse. I do not have experience with this, but all of the previous FromSoft games, except for Demon's Souls and Sekiro, which Sekiro was kind of an exception, all have DLC. It's pretty safe to assume that there will be DLC. And if they weren't planning on making DLC, they probably will now, and they probably have been working on it because of the response to Elden Ring in general. People are a huge fan of this game. It's exploded in a way they had no idea they could expect. So it's safe to assume that we will be getting DLC. That's just generally my assessment. I could be wrong, but based on the available data and based on patterns, it's safe to say, right? The next question is, of course, what will the DLC be about? And this is a question we get all the time. We have tons of speculation here. I hear people talking about they'll bring back some cut content. I hear Mikola. I think I hear Mikola more than anything. This little leak claims it'll be Barbarians of the Badlands, right? And of course, we get a lot of information on that. A lot of people would be excited. I've heard a lot of people talk about a desert zone because we kind of lack a desert zones in FromSoft games, right? The closest would be maybe... Farum Azula in this game is kind of deserty, but, it's in the sky, so it's a little odd. Lauren, the Chalice Dungeon from Bloodborne, but that's kind of, half done, I would say, compared, the Chalice Dungeons are kind of... They exist in a different place, right? And then, of course, the not Archdragon Peak. What's it called in Dark Souls 3? Is it Archdragon Peak? It's kind of vaguely deserty, right? So that's something. It would be cool to have a desert zone. However, what I will say is that personally, I I'd be kind of skeptical and nervous about that for one reason, and that's that deserts are kind of empty. Desert zones can be difficult to do well, and we've seen what they do with an area like the snow areas, which also tend to be kind of bleak areas. It's not the best, I would say. Gale's Battlefield? Yeah, Gale's Battlefield, although it's literally just an arena with like one NPC in it and one random enemy. So I don't know. That's just my personal take on it, right? Like, who knows? We have no idea. Some people have also discussed time travel, and I think time travel is a fair guess because almost every single From DLC relates to some form of time travel. Dark Souls 1, we literally go back in time. Dark Souls 2, we travel realms. Time travel is arguable, but we time travel more in the base game than we do in the DLC. The DLC is just going to different kingdoms, right? Kind of an exception. Dark Souls 3, well, we go forward in time in the second half of the second DLC, so that's another part of it. And then Bloodborne, we kind of go into the past, but it's in the form of a dream, so it's kind of an in-between. But there is this concept of history and time travel, right? However, what I will say, and I say this when DLC discussion comes up anytime, keep in mind, I was not around when Dark Souls 1 DLC was being discussed or Dark Souls 2 DLC was being discussed, but I was around for Bloodborne and I was around for Dark Souls 3. I wasn't involved in the conversation, but I was viewing and reading, and what I will say is that everybody was very convinced that DLC was going to be a certain thing, and they were very wrong. Bloodborne, I don't remember as much. I was more into like lore talk there. I don't remember too much like theorizing about the DLC, but Dark Souls 3, everyone was convinced we were going to go to Londor. That was the prevailing theory. They're like, how are they going to do it without expanding Londor? People talked all about the questions that are going to be answered and what happened with the DLC. They're like, oh, by the way, here's a painted world. Oh, and here's a Gwyn daughter that nobody knew about. Miyazaki and FromSoft in general like to surprise people. So if you have a theory as to what the DLC is going to be, like in general, then you're most likely going to be wrong, and that's a good thing. What I do remember about Bloodborne DLC is that it actively got rid of some of the theories. People had this whole theory before the DLC came out that the headless bloodletting beast in the Chalice dungeons was Lawrence because his head was missing and, you know, the skull was there. People were sure. People were like, guaranteed. It was like Solaire being the Nameless King back in the Dark Souls 1 days. I do remember that lore theory being disproven. I just don't remember what people said about DLC in that era. Anyway, long story short, the DLC comes out and there's Lawrence just chilling on a statue hungover as hell. And not only that, but people were like sure that if there's going to be DLC, it's going to relate to Lawrence because he's such an integral key character. And then he's a beast who just screams and doesn't say a single word and is a side boss of the DLC at that. Which is personally why I think if Mikola is going to be in the DLC, which is once again a big if, I bet he's just going to be some random dingus side boss. Hard as hell side boss. But he's not going to be what people expect. I don't think it's going to center around him either. That would be fun. It's really fun to speculate, and I never want to shut down any speculation. I love it. I love engaging in it. Most of the time, I'm just like, I don't know. I prefer to wait and find out, personally. Sure, I have things that I'm hoping for and excited about, but in general, when it comes to the DLC discussion, I've said my piece. I think it's going to surprise people. I think it's going to be unexpected. I do think it's going to be good. And this is fake. All of this is fake. I just want to reiterate that, this little image. I just have it open for a nice little background, but it's not real. Yeah. I don't know, people love this sort of stuff. Look at all the Bloodborne to PC rumors. There's always bad actors who want to get attention or hype or, you know, they want to be the person to leak something and they just want to get people excited, right? So even if some of this ends up being right, we should always be skeptical. Just in general, I guess. Long story short.